Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we're just going to do a brief video here. We're going to spend probably no more than an hour or so live, and we are going to be having a look at Turnkey Linux, not Turkey Linux, Turnkey Linux. And we're going to be looking at a new startup cloud infrastructure company called SkySilk. So SkySilk reached out and they gave me some servers to tinker with. So I'm not being paid, but I do have free servers to tinker with for a while. So, and I was thinking about what I was going to be doing. I was going to look at one particular application, but most of what SkySilk is doing is Turnkey Linux. So I thought, well, let's just talk about Turnkey Linux. That should work out pretty well. So, let's go ahead and see who is online. Greetings, everybody. So, Libre Secure, are you still here, Libre? Gage K, hello there. And Cool Warboy, 2018, hello, Q1 Fiend, greetings. Levon was searching for a laptop for my brother who's in school, just needed something to type documents. Simple web browsing, searching for monks on HP Pavilion ZT3000. There you go. So you can do that. I'm not sure I'd run Linux Mint 13 on it, though. I'd probably look for something a little bit more secure and up-to-date than that. I'm pretty sure that that's out of life, unless you meant 18. I'm not sure. But yeah, 32-bit Mate or Crunchbang Linux would work, I guess. So yeah, keep in mind, you can get older computers that won't run Windows software, but they'll run the other stuff pretty stinking well. So that's something to keep in mind, I guess. Steve Williams, greetings. Daniel, Robert, hello, both of y'all. And yes, I was hit with a yo-yo. Look at that, yo-yo. Whack. Ouch. Let's see. Waiting on the kid. Was it? Bitalop? Boptilop? Boptilop? Oh, that's cool. I like that. Cool. Cute cat. Yes.
Meow. Thank you very much. Meow.
Yes, a Switch Linux live stream. All right. Oh, Kitty's getting lots of loves.
Thank you, maybe pets you too.
Really enjoy your comments and non-biased reviews. Well, thank you. Yeah, some people don't like the fact that I'm non-biased, but oh well, I'm non-biased. Deal with it. I mean, I really wanted and was anticipating that Fedora to be great. The beta was flawless. It was amazing. I'm not sure what happened. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try the other one again. Dr. Rob, greetings. How are you? Oh, still here. All right, cool. Linux Daily, how's it going? I'm doing well. How about yourself? Hector, love your show. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Unpay, that's why. Okay, hello, Analog, and pizza. Pizza. I was thinking about eating pizza today, but I think I'm going to save my pizza for tomorrow. I made a wonderful batch of pizza sauce yesterday because I found really cheap tomatoes, and I'm looking to put it on something. But I'm going for the salad today, so... good evening. Seen the light and I'm Linux forever. Very good, very good. Kitty, we love you. Oh, Kitty's got some loves.
Hello, thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and jump on over here and talk about some of the turnkey stuff real quick. So Turnkey Linux, and I know a little about Turnkey, not a whole ton. It's not one I've used a lot. There's a lot of cool applications, but basically Turnkey Linux is a server type build you might get on a cloud infrastructure, or I guess you could build it into an infrastructure that will allow you to build out a bunch of separate machines with very specific applications. So, for example, if you are looking at needing to run a basic LAMP stack, WordPress, pretty much everything in the world. They even have an open VPN. I thought about tinkering with that a little bit. That'd be kind of neat. Basically, you would create your own VPN. It would mask your IP address, but of course they would have the IP address of your server. If they could track that down to you, then they still de facto have it, but it messes with the numbers. So you literally could build an open VPN, connect into that, and which you could do for a number of different things. Redmine, there's OwnCloud, Nextcloud is in here as well. There's Joomla, GitLab, I mean, just tons and tons and tons of different things in here. There's Moodle. And so if you just kind of look around, any type of application that you might want There's Bugzilla for a bug tracking platform. You could actually utilize this and put in. There was a couple forum things. Simple Invoices is the one that I installed. Just have a look at it, and we'll give you my thoughts and my take on that. So you can just kind of search over here. So for example, Nextcloud. I know Nextcloud is an option. There you go. There you go. Nextcloud is showing up right there now at the top. It's an option. I just don't see the logo showing up here, but you can do that. And I will eventually be doing some tutorials on setting it up with that. So this is basically a system that you can implement into either into your cloud infrastructure, or I'm not sure all of the ways to use it. Like I said, I became briefly familiar with this one because it ended up being the system that was pre-installed and pre-configured on my SkySilk account. And I wanted to go ahead and play with it. So some of the early thoughts, the first thing I was going to do is I wanted to rebuild my, we wanted to rebuild the video game server that I work with, and move it off of AWS to keep the costs down while the thing is still growing in size. And so I tried to just install a LAMP stack to install. I found it to be a little bit more complicated than I wanted to. I'd rather just install a basic Ubuntu build and built out the LAMP stack manually, which ended up being a little bit faster than using theirs. But if you are utilizing an application, I'm not sure if I'd do WordPress with this, maybe, maybe not. I want to try that since I use WordPress extensively. But OpenVPNs, other applications, getting in there, clicking all that, it configures the server, sets everything up. The only downside, and I have a question out to the company, is this a limitation of Turnkey or if this is a limitation of SkySilk? And they're usually pretty fast at getting back to me, but I think their guys, my contact over there might have gone home by now. I asked them if that's a limitation of who, because I set up the Simple Invoice application and I was actually, it doesn't ask you anywhere to tie in a domain name. So I went in there with root access to the shell and I just created the, I just went ahead and created the vhosts and set it up so I had the domain name. And then the next thing I found, I'll get into all that in a bit. That's that company. Let's go ahead and jump over to the next company. And these are the guys that gave me access to servers to tinker with. So again, I'm not being paid by these guys, but they did give me free access to a bunch of servers to tinker with. And so this is kind of partially tip of the hat to them. If you are looking for cloud type services, this is a competitor to DigitalOcean, and in ways like AWS, more compatible, I think, with DigitalOcean right now, and you're looking for one of these guys would be a neat place to go look at as well. So you can basically build out with a simple basic core, so CentOS, Ubuntu, Debian, Fedora, Arch, Gentoo. Of course, we have other applications, tools, Nextcloud, OwnCloud, WordPress, OpenVPN. The Simple Invoices is the one I wanted to look at. So you can see a variety of different things. Then they have these SkyPoints, which can be redeemed for gift cards, Best Buy e-gifts, Visa gift cards, things like that. You know, you get the points by buying different different servers. And so if you go in, I want to see if I can find their pricing structure without jumping over to my system, since I'm logged in. I don't want to log out though, because I don't remember my password. I have to go look it up again. But anyway, let me check out platform real quick. All right, so they have some free cloud services. Early access to SkySilk accounts will get access to a free VPN, which I'm actually using to run a stun turn server for my Nextcloud build, so I can do teleconferencing on my system through internet portals. And then there's a variety of other cloud infrastructure systems that you can use. So I think we'll have to kind of go over into my account to track that down. So this is a new company coming out. They are still in beta. I think they are planning to launch sometime this summer officially. And so I'm going to jump on over to my account real quick, make sure there's nothing exposed over there. And then we'll kind of jump in over there. So I'll go ahead and hit a create container. All right, so when you hit a create a container, you see we have a free VPS. These are fairly limited. You can see 12 megabyte per second limitation on the transfer speeds. Limited transfers of 500 gigabytes, etc. This is actually what I have my stun server on right now. And one of the things I might think about doing is moving this over into a standard system, which would give me 200 megabit per second transfer rate. I want to see if that takes care of some of the hiccuping I occasionally find in my server. And I think they actually are going to have one for $5 a month. I thought there was one tier lower than this. I really thought there was, unless maybe they changed prices or whatever. But here we have an unlimited VPS. Of course, they have Sky Points. Manual backups, snapshots are included. And then they have scheduled backups, a variety of different, transfers up to 5 terabytes per month transfer rates. And then I think the SSDs are good as high as 25 or 50 or maybe higher in size. So you can go ahead and pick any given plan. And then when you pick a plan, so here's micro, small, medium, large. So I think they might have bumped that up. I thought there was a smaller one, but I thought there was one CPU and a 2 gig of RAM, but I don't know. Maybe they took that out. So here you can start with a basic clean OS, so you can pick which version you want. So, there's various Ubuntu versions, Debian 7, 8, or 9, Fedora 24 through 27, Arch, Gentoo, OpenSUSE, and I guess you might have to ask about those. But if you click on the apps and tools, you can come over here and grab information about what you have. So here, if you want to install any of these items, you just want to click on these. The details will give you the information. I would like to see a little bit more information about these, but regardless, we have a little bit of information. So, for example, I think the Nextcloud will tell you that your minimum and your recommended hardware. So the idea is if you pick one of these, such as this, it will set up your basic simple structure with one vCPU, 4 gigs of RAM, which is actually a lot. So my thinking is you could actually build one of these, set up your Nextcloud install on it, and build your Stun, Turn, and your Calibora all on the same cloud. And that would very easily support up to 10 or so users. So if you're looking for a good enterprise type self-install, $10 a month is a really good deal to support a business with a full cloud infrastructure for up to 10 users. So that would actually be a pretty cool place to go. So you just enter your VPS name, and then you can log in with a VPN password, a VPS password, or you can use SSH keys. And it will tell you how to generate the keys. Currently, I'm just using passwords for now. If I were to deploy something in a production server system, I would take the password off, which you can do, and then I would add exclusively the SSH keys for extra security. But it's cool you can actually get in here and you can make the changes. Once you actually create one such account, then you can actually, they do have a web-based system. So I'm actually going to go over into my account and I'm going to boot up the one of these that's just a, let's see, run that. Okay, so over here, this is where I have the simple invoice install, see where the IP address is. And then here I can actually click on this and it's going to boot up a, terminal here. So it's basically a web-based SSH remote terminal, so you can actually see what is going on that. And so you have the ability to get in there even if you don't have a terminal system on your computer. There's the VNC console as well, and then we have a variety of statistics. So here's the individual statistics. Ooh, we've jumped up to 1.5% of my CPU usage. Man, this thing's going good. So there is kind of the snapshots, SSH. If you have any SSH keys, you have those. I think the snapshots right now are disabled. They're doing some maintenance over there, so that's kind of one of the things they have going on there. But anyway, you can spin these guys up. You can use a variety of different servers and basically get in and run your system. So we're going to jump over to comments real quick, and then I'm going to come back over and show you a couple more things in there. Let's see. I have Ubuntu. Okay, good evening. I have seen the light. Linux forever. I think I've been there. Always a great part of my day. Love the insight. Well, thank you, Mikey. Avoid the romaine. I think actually that's what I have in my refrigerator. Do you like this better than Nextcloud, or is it even like Nextcloud? What? Like what more than Nextcloud? Like SkySilk is a cloud system. You put a variety of software onto it. It's just like currently I have my Nextcloud install built on top of my VPS with my separate hosting company. That's where I'm running my Nextcloud from right now. But you could put it over here. You're making AUR for Solace, calling it the AUR. Huh. Do you think about Ubuntu 18.04? I don't know. I think it's kind of going downhill a little bit, honestly, but I don't know. It's not super bad. It's just, it's nothing to write home about anymore. They've sucked out everything in it that was probably good. And one of the things I'm finding right now, I need to compile, I'm still working on compiling an operating system for this phone, and I cannot compile the Chromium app on Ubuntu 18. There's packages that I have to install, try and install them. It says you have to install this on Ubuntu. I'm like, I am on Ubuntu. Well, you have to install it. You can only install it on up to Ubuntu 17. So I can't build Chromium. So I need to wipe the entire operating system over here. I'm going to run Debian on it and rebuild my build environment. So yeah, I'm not all that keen on Ubuntu right now. Horace, hello, greetings. Have you ever thought about doing HTML, CSS, JavaScript tutorials? I've done a few different WordPressy things, but not much. I probably could, but I don't know. I don't know. There it is, Ubuntu. Windows free since Red Hat. Very good. Is Ubuntu spying on us? No. They are collecting some of the information you're using, but I wouldn't say it's spying in that they're not running data analytics. They're not running session replay scripts. They're not doing things like that. What they're doing is they're collecting an operating system fingerprint, which is not good. So in that way, you could say they're spying on you in that way, especially since the popularity contest application that collects the list of all the applications on your computer and the order of which you've used them last is directly tied to a machine ID in their database that can directly link to your machine. That is the type of stuff that some people just can't have that information out there, albeit not a lot of people. And so the fact that there are several things like that that are installed by default is a little problematic to me. But I've definitely seen worse, so I don't know. I'm not a regular user of Ubuntu. I'm a regular user of Linux Mint, and Linux Mint has said they are not putting any of the data collection at all that Ubuntu has into Linux Mint 19, which is due out for a beta test very soon. Learn JavaScript at school. I made a button when you click it, it gets bigger. Very cool. Very cool. How big before it takes over the computer screen? Or learn Scratch. Yeah, learning Scratch. There you go. Where are those servers hosted? Currently, I think they are all in the Burbank region. They are moving to... They're slowly launching new servers in different locations. As of right now, I think they're all in Burbank. Get a Gentoo server now. It can host and compile. Can you create your own VPN and host services? You can create your own VPN on this service, yes. I run my own VPN on my Raspberry Pi at home is what I use. We mean by host services, like various services and things. I'll tell you, the Nextcloud build works perfectly fine. I was actually working on some audio files for a client today. They needed to run some podcasting stuff, and there is one of the applications you put in Nextcloud allows you to provide a public link for somebody to upload files to your cloud. And so it worked flawlessly. It's like, oh, just go here, click the upload button, find the files and upload them. And in fact, it was I had 35 megabytes of files in less than 30 seconds. She uploaded them. They were immediately on my cloud. I downloaded them. We transferred 30 megabytes of audio files instantly with my Nextcloud build. Cloud services for 10 users. Yeah, and the reason I say 10, you could probably have more, but when you're running code, Calibora, which is what you need to run the Google Docs or Office 365 Docs type version of LibreOffice on a cloud infrastructure, they kind of recommend having about half a gig of RAM or so per active user. And so having 4 gigs, you could probably have an office of 10 people running without a lot of problems. I wouldn't want to go a whole lot higher than that just because of RAM limitations and things. They locked the BIOS so I can no longer run Linux at school. How dare you learn how to use operating systems? Bad pizza. You must use Windows. You must. There is no option. How are the SkySilk terms and privacy policy? Not too bad. I do want to talk to them about, they do have a binding arbitration clause. I would like to see that go away, but everything else is pretty much in line with every other hosting company. They're not going to look at what's in your private cloud, particularly if it's encrypted. So, you know, they're not going to be doing stuff like that. And so with that being said, it's on par with any other hosting company. It's really no better, really no worse. I'm not sure which ones have binding arbitration in the industry. I'd like to see them drop that or at least have an opt-out option. But regardless, it kind of is what it is. Greetings, Adolphus. Yes, SkySilk. They are a new startup for cloud services, kind of like the DigitalOcean type guys. That's the type of things they're running. Do you know if any Linux distros have addressed Meltdown Inspector on my new CPU and motherboard? Not until releases are fixed. They should all be fixed, actually. As of, somebody correct me, I think it's 4.14 kernel and above has fixed that. I forget exactly. But yeah, those have all been addressed a while ago. What I would do, Daniel, I would go with AMD because they fix the patches without impacting the CPU performance as much as Intel has. So that's something to keep in mind. And that's one of the major reasons I went the Ryzen processor. That is, the Ryzen processor is cheap for an amazingly good processor. It can hold its own to the i7 and higher with no problems. And the processor cost me less than $200 for a 6-core hyper-threaded processor. And it's amazing. I have zero complaints about the thing. I absolutely love it. As much as I didn't like spending the money to rebuild the whole computer, I'm very happy I rebuilt the whole computer. The thing works a whole lot better than it did under the old Intel processor I had. The DYL.com, the open source group I'm in, gets full virtual machines. Nice. Very cool. Yesterday I fixed Mac Mini Core Tool Duo. Hard drive died. I needed to transfer files. Just bought an external hard drive for $50. Took out the hard drive from the X and put it in. Yep, there you go. You can run Linux Mint online. There you go. Very cool. Milky or Mikey. Why did I say Milky? My apologies, Mikey. Have you ever used Namecheap /OX Suite? Well, I'm not familiar with what Namecheap /OX Suite is, but Namecheap as a registrar, I've not. They're one of the ones I kind of want to change my registrars because I sell domains as well as part of my web design business, and I kind of want to change my registrars. And that's Namecheap is one of the ones I've looked at. I haven't had enough pain points to want to really care to leave yet, honestly. So, no, I'm not familiar with the OX suite. I'm not familiar with that. Kitty, leave my camera alone. No. Kitty's messing up my green screen. All right. Old days there was something called whale service. Ubuntu Mate, Kubuntu, Ubuntu 18.04 are all great. Use Aruba Cloud for VPS. Pay €1 a month. That runs my WordPress blog. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Keep software on the net. Coffee mug came in the other day. I like the look. Cool, T. Which one did you get? Did you get the Linux one or the cat one? Yes, you can get a Linux or a cat coffee mugs. I have those available. I have my travel mug is right here. Of course, you can't see the logo because of the green screen, but I also have this adorable little kitty here. Kitty, leave my green screen alone. I have this little kitty here on a coffee mug too. You're famous. You're on t-shirts and coffee mugs and everything, kitty. You can get those at shop.switchtolinux.com. 1804 hampers workflow. Huh. Is a good distro for a dual core with 4 gigs of RAM. Nothing running GNOME. You might want to avoid Cinnamon with that. Probably look for a desktop with XFCE or Mate would probably be best. So, I mean, you might try Peppermint, MX Linux, Linux Lite. Those would be good ones. Maybe Ubuntu Mate if you want like a big old Ubuntu on there. You could probably run that. I'd call myself 100% Linux, but I have an unplugged Windows hard drive. There you go. Good evening, Keegan. How's it going there? Only time I've actually tuned in for a live stream in time. Very good, very good. Does SkySilk support adding public addresses directly to your virtual server without any pass-through to NAT? Public addresses directly to your servers. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, Steve, by that. Could you clarify? Have any videos setting up your own VPN? Yes. If you search for them, I did them. I want to say I did those videos December of last year, so like December 16, I think is when I did those. So they're probably due for updating soon, but yeah, I do have some videos on that. Uh-oh, someone lost the stream. It looks like I've lost the stream. I don't know if I'll swap over to AMD with my next computer, to be honest. Yeah, I might. Probably the downside is finding an AMD on a laptop is difficult, and it's getting harder, too. Company build and sell a printer for 40 and then sell the ink refills. Oh, how can a company? Because we have an oligarchy, man. They don't care. Great review about Linux Lite, Linux Mint, and others who might have an idea what Linux is good. Yep. Didn't get any notification again. Really? I put the notification for this at like 3 or 4 or something, I think. Oh, the Linux one with black inside. Oh, that's the one I have. Yeah, I really like that one. That's a really nice mug. All right, let's go ahead and let's see what else I wanted to look at here. Oh, that's right. I wanted to log into the the terminal here, show you guys what this looks like. Oh. Cat? Cat hit my enter button. You might have to get off the desk, kitty. You are knocking my screen around. Alright, come on. Where are you? Where are you? I'm gonna put you in kitty timeout. He's like, I ain't going in kitty timeout. There, you can sit right there. Avoid my camera. Leave my camera alone. Just need to change my web browser view. All right. And let me also see if I can bump up my view here. Well, bumping up the view really messes with the whole screen size, doesn't it? There we are. Now we can see some stuff. All right. So here, all right, Kitty, you need to go. I need the keyboard. Thank you. All right. So here we are logged in, and basically I just went into the password. This is the simple invoice. And really there's the biggest downsides that I've found to this is that it doesn't set up my, it doesn't set up your vhosts, and so I could get to the application simply by typing in the IP address. And it also set up the Apache config files a little weird, and I think that's maybe Turnkey. I'm not completely sure. So if I go over to Etsy and Apache, if I type Apache right, and I look at my sites, we have our, I think the one that we're actually using is, it might be the AdMiner one. So here is our file for this, and no, this is something else. I'm not sure what it was. The Let's Encrypt had a difficult time setting up the SSL for this. That's another thing, is they don't set up an SSL for an invoicing thing, which is collecting and sending payments, and even had a place to import your credit card numbers. There's no SSL installed and no instructions on how to do it. Fortunately, I know how to do it. So what I end up having to do is I went into my, oh, it's the simple invoices is the one that's the default. So this one here is the simple invoices one. So they set up your root directory like this. And this is the primary web server available, but there were two different ones available. So when I installed the SSL, the thing would redirect into the main HTML. So I actually had to get into our, I had to get into the SSL one, the default SSL. And then I actually had to tell this where to go. And then I had to change, basically I had to change my document route here because this was still www/html. So I had to manually change this. The SSL installed fine. I had to manually change this, and of course, anytime you change that, you want to reboot Apache. So service Apache to restart to reboot the Apache server. And then that allowed me to have the SSL enabled and actually going into the system. So there was just a little bit of weirdness in how the Turnkey system sets up the server. And with that, so I think everything else, so if we go down to the var and the www directory, you'll see we have the HTML, which is actually blank. They should have at least put in index.php with nothing in there. Let me go into that one real quick. So you can see there's nothing in there. In reality, to have this more secure, they should have, if this directory is going to be here at all, they should have a php.html file in here that's blank. It's going to prevent anybody from seeing directory structures, and that can be a backdoor in. So you would want to get rid of that. But then we have these simple invoices is where the system is kept. All right. Now, if you hit the database backup, it will store a copy in the temp directory. But what you'll see is that critical parts of the database are actually encrypted. So if I come in here and do a nano simple, let's just do that one. This is actually the full backup of the database. This is actually the place here where, oh, that's not it. There you go. This is actually the customer. So they are actually encrypting important things. So this right here is actually the encrypted version of the credit card number. But you can see it does actually list the expiration year and the expiration date. So if somebody knows what they're doing in this database, I'm not sure this is a real secure application. This is the simple invoice application itself. So there's a little bit here about the different things. For the most part, I really like how Turnkey works. There's a few things I do different, like There's no way to set your domain name on this or other applications I've attempted to install. The next thing is installing your SSLs is not always the easiest. I mean, it wasn't bad. Let's Encrypt is very easy to install. It took me all of 5 minutes, but it's just because the way the configuration files were set, it was just a little clunky. But overall, it worked out pretty nicely. So let's go ahead and have a look at the application that I installed. So give me a second to get that up. Oh. Of course, I did tell it to force the HTTPS, but it doesn't do that, presumably because it got confused with the original application. So let me change my screen here. I just need to change my web browser view. Let's go back to the Firefox. All right. So here we are, and then what password did I give this thing? All right. So this is the application that I built up, and this would work for if you wanted to run like a simple invoicing system for your business on a self-hosted server. You could, I mean, this is one of the applications that I was looking at. There's this one, and there's another one that I want to look at as well. I would never run one of these on a public website like this, but it's great to have these for your own private servers that are not on the internet. Great way to do it. Have a little web server in your office. Have the ability to access your invoicing from any computer easily without any connection to the outside world, and you have a decent system. Getting this thing set up, including the extra steps of pointing a domain to it and setting up Let's Encrypt SSL, actually took me all of 20 minutes. That's the power of Turnkey. So I'd recommend Turnkey. I'd recommend the SkySilk server. It allowed you to get things up really quick. Like I said, it'd be just as easy to get up a Nextcloud install. I'm just curious if they will give you access, particularly with Nextcloud will not work if you don't have the SSL installed. I don't think. I could be wrong about that. But basically, inside of this system here, you have your home, you have your dashboard. You can add new invoices, add new customers, add new products. You can back up your database, customize settings. Invoices, new invoice, here's recurring invoices. So I might use something like this, would be a good way to manage my my longer term things, such as my web hosting clients, which are billed annually. Be a good way to set up the recurring invoices on my end, so I don't have to manually do it, which is what I'm currently doing. But you can go ahead and set up a variety of things here. Here's a sales report, different people's. Here's the customers. Here's the billers. So there's a variety of different things. So this would be, if you were to use something like QuickBooks, this would be something like, who are your vendors and who are your suppliers, and, your vendors and your customers, I'm sorry. And then you can set up your different products here. So you can set up the various types of products that you have. Here's a website, 850, sure. So that way I have a couple different products listed. So when I want to come in and do an invoice, hit the add a new invoice, I can pull down who is actually billing it. So if you were to have a group with a couple different sales teams or whatever, this would be your customer list. I only have the one in there right now. And then I would just say, okay, we have that. We're billing them one website. It'll automatically fill in the price. And then we're going to go ahead and give them hosting. And we can save the invoice. So you can look at your invoices that you have. You can email it. You can export it. Ew, a doc file. Who built this thing? I want to see a LibreOffice document. We have export to PDF. We have a process payment, which the credit card, unfortunately, is kind of saving that payment successfully processed. So I'm not sure. There is some way to connect some credit cards to this thing. I'm not sure exactly how to do that. I'm guessing it's sandboxed by default. But this was a simple application to do invoicing and billing. I set this up on SkySilk without ever having looked at this before. Like I said, all of 20 minutes, including the extra steps of pointing a domain to it and setting up the Let's Encrypt SSL. So that is the power of this. Of course, this is one application I looked at. There's numerous other applications by default, or you can just spin up a blank empty server and do with it what you want. So those are all options. That's kind of my thoughts on that. So let's jump on over to the comments, see if there's any other questions on any of these things, and we'll see what we got. Intel is anti-competitive, and that's sort of why I went with AMD. Amazon Cloud, you have to use private address on the virtual servers and public addresses. Oh, you mean like, I think it sounds to me like you're talking about the security groups. Yeah, I did not see security group options. So I think all of the security grouping that you would see is actually all done on the distro itself. I actually like the way AWS does it a lot better. It's kind of like an external firewall, not an internal firewall. Yeah, so if that's what you're talking about, it's the security groups on AWS, where you have to set which IP addresses have access to what ports and things like that. It sounds like that's what you're talking about. No, this doesn't do that. You do have to manage all of your port addressing in the operating system itself. So, you know, on Ubuntu, you're running with Ubuntu Firewall. That's my understanding. They do say that all ports are open by default, or yeah, I think they said all ports are open by default. I can't remember. I know doing a port check. So if I do a port check on this IP address, I should probably expect only to see 80 and 443 open, but let me go ahead and do that. Okay, scanning all open ports. All right, so scanning all open ports on the IP address of the server. 22 is open for SSH. 80 is open for a regular HTTP. 443 is open for HTTPS, and it looks like everything else is closed. And my guess is that is probably reflected in the firewall. But you know, there was something else that was kind of goofy going on with those. If I had disabled the firewall, everything was closed. If I had opened the firewall, then only these specific ports were open. So I think that that's what you're talking about. And yeah, everything is managed internally, and I don't like that as much. I do like the way Amazon does that better. Must be the catnip on the desk. Oh, catnip on the desk. Are you catnip on the desk? Have you been snorting catnip today? Look at that. He's merging into his predator form. He's blending in with the background. I always knew this kitty was out for blood. Oh, yes. I'm going to let you down. I'm going to let you on the desk. I just have to move the mouse pad. There you go. Now stay away from my camera. Here, play with the coffee cup all you want. Just stay away from the camera. Of course, if I'm going to let him play with the coffee cup, I'm going to move the phone. That'd be a good thing. Not going to let anything Amazon back into my life. Downing Mint Mate right now. Keep thinking I see Turnkey Linux. Turkey, nom noms. Had the same thing looking at what it looks like. Yeah, Turkey. Being late, pretty slow day. What's this? Sounds like Mandarin to my ears. Oh, you know, sorry. I went all geek mode today. Sorry. See, I actually do know what I'm talking about on some of this stuff. I just don't always let on. The thing, Adolphus, is, yeah, you're right. As far as cloud computing is concerned, but if it comes to a matter of needing to have some degree of cloud computing type stuff, I'd rather have it on a platform that I have the most control over. This is why, like, Cloudberry kept on emailing me for a while to, like, review our cloud backup services. I finally told them to go away because it's not a service I would use. If it's a service specifically to back up my stuff, I'm not going to trust it nearly as much as, here's a VPS, do with it what you want, and let me build my next cloud, let me build the things that I have, let me have access to that, and I'm going to trust that a little bit more. I'm still never putting anything critical up there. I'm never storing my personal photos on the cloud. I'm never storing any of those documents. But there are great places. So, like, you know, if I'm collaborating on somebody with a book right now, writing a book. And so it's a great thing for us to be sharing our documents. But if I don't know how to do this stuff, I'm going to be stuck having to use Google services or Microsoft services. I don't want that. So we're using a Nextcloud build instead. That's kind of where we're getting at. It's kind of the case. Am I Canadian or American? I'm an American. I'm from Pennsylvania. From the great land of Penn State University, which I'm so happy the students left last weekend. It's actually peaceful going to town now. Won't trust this kind of cloud installation. Why is that? Why would one do banking online? Well, I mean, as far as banking online, that's unfortunately a reality. Whether you want it to be online or not, it is. That's kind of a sad reality. As far as this type of stuff, why would somebody put your invoicing system online? I have no earthly idea. I haven't a clue. That's why I keep on seeing FreshBooks, FreshBooks, FreshBooks. No! Even I use QuickBooks for my business, and it's just like, even they're trying to push their QuickBooks on the cloud service. No! No, you're not backing up my data to your cloud. No, I'm not going to convert to your QuickBooks Online crap. No, I'm very happy with it being on my computer. But what if your computer crashes? That's why you do backups. Duh. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use an application like that. The reason but here's the useful application for things like this. You can build this on a cloud server that is not on the internet. I can build a web server in my office. I can build a web server on a VirtualBox. I can build a fully encrypted VirtualBox server that does nothing but build this, completely encrypted, and I can make a monthly snapshot of that thing, saving that encrypted server. So if the computer crashes, whatever else, I just spin up a VirtualBox, deploy it, and we're back online. I can do that kind of stuff, and that's a good, useful application. That's actually why I want to cover more of this type of software, because this type of software, while it's originally designed to put on the internet, I wouldn't put it on the internet. Not a chance. But I would use something like this on a locally deployed server that doesn't reach outside. Like, for example, my if I actually go to my I should put a URL to this. If I can type. I cannot type today, people. All right, so this is actually a web server that is hosted on my own system. This is actually my my Calibri server. So this is all of the books that I happen to own, all on my server. So any device that I have can log into this server and download any ebook onto that device. So if a friend comes over, and these are all open source except for my books. Actually, I think this one's not open source either. You know, there's a variety of books that I have here. They're all free, open source. So anybody who comes over to my house, if they look at the books that I have and say, oh, I really want to read Walden by Henry David Thoreau. I don't have that. They can actually just go right into their phone if they're on my network, push the little buttons, download it, open it in whatever app they have that can open an ebook. And this is not accessible from the outside world. It's only accessible if you're on my network. Oh, it's accessible from the outside world if you're on a VPN. But that's the type of stuff that is really good applications, and that's why I want to review things like the simple invoices and things like that, because I use GNU Cache for my content creation stuff. I don't like it nearly as much as QuickBooks, but QuickBooks will not run on Linux, and so I want to replace QuickBooks with something else. And some of these cloud-based open source applications for running books very well might solve that problem. That's why I want to use those. I only trust Turnkey if I have my own web server and network security implemented. Yeah, one of the things I don't like about it is there is one of the screens is like, you know, create a Turnkey account and get backups to the system. No. Fortunately, you can skip it, but I don't like that. But everything in Turnkey is open source. It is, you can see the source code. You can kind of guess what's going on. So, to me, it doesn't look too bad. Set up sales bank services. Now, Turnkey just has hundreds of different cloud open source things. Like, for example, there's open source social media networks. For if you have a big family, like, well, we're only on Facebook, so we can get pictures of our granddaughter. For crying out loud, build yourself your own private, family-only online social media account with some of the open source social media servers. Then you can share data all you want without someone else getting and getting it. And that's the type of stuff that Turnkey does. It's a place to take all of these applications, with all these applications, and then deploy them in an easy format so you don't have to download things, upload into an FTP server, manually create a database. Turnkey does that for you. That's the purpose of it. Only used it a few times back in the late 90s, early 2Ks, yeah. Tried K-Money for Linux, but found it a bit overwhelming. Oh, I've not looked at K-Money. One of the problems with a lot of the personal finance tools you'll find on any system is they're not geared towards businesses, geared towards personal finances maybe. GNU Cache is geared towards businesses, but I like the charts and the data and things like that I get in QuickBooks. But, you know, you have my Liturgy, dude? Huh. I'm not sure what Liturgy is. Look that up. Not on the internet. Good. It feels like we can trick the system being fluffy enough to become sheepdogs instead of cattle. I think Turnkey is promoting web services instead of software. Not really. I'm not sure what's behind Turnkey, the whole group itself. I'm just looking at how SkySilk has implemented it. MS Money, don't run on anything but Windows. Yeah. My first computer, well, I mean, my first computer that had any real usability was old Windows 95, but I had an old DOS 4 version. I think it was DOS 3, actually. DOS 3 point something was the first computer I had. Yes, you have a better business model than Turnkey Linux. Turnkey Linux. Hey, kitty, do you like Turnkey Linux? Do you, Predator Cat? He's like, yep, I do. All right, let's go ahead and do a last call for comments. I will be live streaming on the Christian channel today at 9 o'clock, so that's in about an hour. But we're going to go ahead and feed the cretin here. That's right, kitty. We're going to feed the kitty. We're going to feed the kitty. Whoa, here you go. You ready to be fed? Are you ready to be fed? Feed the beast. Oh, feed the beast. Feed the beast. Oh, boy. Right here, right here, right here. Oh, he was in the way of the comments. I'm going to have to give him another one for that one. Oh, you did it again. Cat, go this way. Right here. Yeah, we'll give him one more. Because he kept on eating. No. Over here. There you go. There you go. Are they whisker looking good? Yeah, they are. They're whisker looking good, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see. Alternative to MS Money. You know, as far as personal finances, LibreCalc. I use spreadsheets for personal budgeting. I only use software for things like business budgeting because it's crazy. Home Bank, okay. More control, not worried about nasty plots. Windows XP or Linux Mint 12. I don't know, I like them both. What the topic of tonight is on the other channel, I'm going to be looking at the first chapter of the book of James in detail. We might do all of it, we might do part of it. It depends on how far I get on different parts. Yes, I have two other channels actually. The one I'm live streaming on tonight is called Our Walk in Christ. It is a Christian-based channel. I do have a cooking channel that I don't put up the videos quite as much as I would like to. Yeah, I'll put the URL up there for that. All right. So here is the URL for that channel. I'm going to be doing James chapter 1 today on the live stream. Feed my own beast after this. It's roaring. I come from a small, very small town. 3 clans of Amish. Well, you know, if you're Amish, you want to use Sparky Linux because that's what I saw that Amish guy using once. How to run QuickBooks on Wine. I can't get QuickBooks installed on Wine. The version I have will not install. Buying my wife the kitty mug. Nice. Buying the wife the kitty mug. Let me tell you when the next sale is going on over there. By the way, pretty soon, when I have my own development thing up, the only way to get the early access to know when the sales are is it's going to be one of the supporter perks. But we're not launched yet, so let me find that information. $5.15 to $5.17. What is that? That's next week, isn't it? Everything is 15% off in the shop. Shop.switchtolinux.com for that. Our Apple fanboys are foolish. Well, I mean, there's reasons to use Apple. I'm still trying to find them myself, but there's reasons to use Apple. Dope, just went shopping. When I lived in Indiana, I saw people that were either Amish or Mennonite. They had really nice modern brick houses with carriages in the front. Ooh, I don't know which one those ones are. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump on off here. So we will catch you guys later. Have yourselves a good one. And again, check out the Christian channel tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. That is 1 hour from now, and I will be streaming on that. So we will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.